Summer Sun, Clayton Anderson. All right, I think it is about time. Let me get over here and I'm going to click a couple buttons because Leah from Remnant Stew is in the house to talk about Remnant Stew Podcast. How about that?
Hey, Leah.
Hey, B-Dawg.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
The crowd's going wild. They just don't know when to stop.
I get that.
Well, first of all, we want to thank you so much, welcome you to the Tiki Man Radio family, and thank you so much for believing in us and jumping on board with Lou and I here on Tropical Country.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
So, what got you started in the world of podcasts? Can you hear me now?
Is my mic muted?
Nope, there you go. I got you.
Okay. I think I lost you for a second.
I clicked the wrong button. That's all right.
We're going to have to run. Okay. How did I get started? Well, I listened to a ton of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of got hired to be a co-host for a podcast. And there were three of us, and we started researching. I started researching all of it and figuring out it was a true crime podcast.
Oh, okay.
And there was a point at which I asked the women, it was two other women. I was like, do you even know what a podcast is? Have you listened to a podcast? And they hadn't. And so I was like, okay, I'm out. If I'm doing all of this work and all of this research on how to do this, I'm going to do it for myself. And so that's kind of how I got started. It had lived in my head for a while. I knew I thought, that'd be a cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. But that was the catalyst that got me started. And, I didn't do true crime. I eat, live, and breathe true crime, but
so does Lou.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it because there's so many out there. There's just so many out there. And so my other passion is crazy, weird stories. I'm that person that collects those. Mm-hmm. My family's always like, tell me a story. Tell me, what have you got? Tell me a story. And so I had curated these stories for forever. So we started out with a ton of material. And this world is nuts. It's crazy. And so there's always cool things going on. So I don't think we're going to run out of material anytime soon.
So you guys, how long have you had Remnant Stew on the air now?
We started in August of 2019. That's when we released our first episode.
Gotcha.
And so we're in our third season, but we haven't been doing it quite 2 years yet.
Okay. So I know you guys get it. How do you find your source material? Is there a process that you go through to find what the kind of the bizarrities that you find?
Just living in this world. I subscribe to a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I've always been interested. I grew up reading Ripley's Believe It or Not.
I grew up as a kid watching the show, so I get you.
Yeah. And so we are, we're kind of Ripley's Believe It or Not. And we actually did an episode in our season 2 all on Ripley. And how he came to be and all of that kind of stuff. And so we, oh my goodness, I have a ton of material and there's tons of curious, bizarre, interesting stuff happening all the time. So we delve into history, but then we also kind of bring you some of the weirdest news stories if we come across them, or I find it all over the place.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things, Leah, that I know you can't see me, but hey, that's one of the things that I like the most about your podcast is the historical. I'm a huge history buff. Mm-hmm. And so the history that you bring into the show really, I think, makes it pretty original. Besides the bizarre stories, but you do bring a historical element into it as well.
Well, and my co-host, Dr. Stephen Meeker, Steve, is a longtime educator. This is his 42nd year in junior high. He teaches junior high.
Oh, bless him.
Bless him. Right? Well, so he's been teaching 42 years. Some of that time he actually taught in a mental institution, and I'm like,
oh, wow.
So which is crazier, junior high,
right?
It's
kind of a toss up.
So he's taught really, and he so he taught 2 of my kids, so 2 of the weirdos, and so he is very heavy into history, and he travels all over the place, and so he really brings the history, and he brings the knowledge, and he brings the knowledge of the places. So yeah, he is Dr. Steve Meeker is just Dr. Meeker is just he's awesome. I couldn't have picked a better co-host.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because I can tell you, I'm a history buff. She likes the true crime and some history. I could sit and live and breathe watching the History Channel, and
I'm also a huge paranormal person.
We have a little bit of that. I'm all creepy, paranormal.
Yeah.
He kind of is like, let's keep it a little. And one thing is that he bribes his students to listen to us. So we kind of keep it a little clean. But we have, let's see, I think our next episode coming out is American Monsters. It's all about cryptids.
Ooh.
So yeah, cryptids found in America, and then the episode after that is cryptids around the world. So yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Well, I can tell you definitely the episode that caught people's attention here, I think it was one of the first ones
the cats
that the hippie chick had listened to, was the festival where they throw the cats off the roof.
Kattenstoy. Yeah, that's right. And we featured that in a couple of our episodes. But yeah, that's some of the weirdest celebrations around the world. And we're all about celebrating something all the time.
Right, right. Well, I can tell you that we have several listeners here of Tiki Man Radio that has now gravitated over to Remnant Stew and have fallen in love with you guys.
Oh, great. Well, follow us over to our Facebook and our Instagram, where some discussions going on. We have Brain Teaser Tuesday. I'm always posting weird and crazy things that I find. So check us out over there too. Absolutely.
Y'all go over and follow them as well, please.
Absolutely.
Please. And we have a couple questions from our listeners. You may have heard us talking earlier about Michelle. We call her the ambassador of all good things. She's the one that has just gotten the new octopus ring. And she decided
you have to get me one.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Barb's jewelry is just amazing. But yeah, so Michelle named it Remy after your podcast. So I was joking around earlier and said, I think that's the
Remy ring.
The Remy ring. Oh, that's a good idea. Hey, I might need to talk to Barb. We might need to hook up and make the 3 of us a little connection here.
I think I need a Remy ring. But our mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
There you go.
Our mascot actually has a name. We had a contest.
Oh, wow.
Listeners naming it. His name is Sir Kraken.
Sir Kraken. All right. Nice.
But Remy, man, I like that name.
Yeah. Maybe we can hook you and Barb and me and Michelle, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, because all of a sudden
good to me.
We're finding the octopus to be a very lucky creature for us.
Yes.
Because not only you came on board to sponsor our show, also Goaltending Services out of Key West came on board, and of course their mascot is also an octopus. So we're like, octopus is kind of lucky for us right now.
That's right.
They are amazing creatures.
They really are.
Creatures. We have, when we celebrated our first birthday, we did an episode called The Octopus, and we featured some stories about they're amazing. Like, they are absolutely amazing. Sometimes I think they may be smarter than humans. And there's this one where he was in an aquarium, and his keeper fed him some rotten shrimp. Right? And fed him some shrimp. One of them happened to be rotten. And so the feeder, fed him, put it in the tank, and then went back to his office. Not too long after that, the octopus came around the corner and threw the rotten shrimp at him.
No.
Got out of its tank, because they are Houdinis. They can get out of anything. and
that is amazing.
Knew where the office was, and just wanted to say, hey, you know what, this is rotten. Just letting you know.
What's this crap you're trying to feed me?
That's right.
Well, there's the kind of stories you will hear on Remnant Stew.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Miss Michelle wants to know, how do you go through verifying the information as fact that you use for your podcast?
That's a fantastic question. So it's as we try really hard. We try really hard to make sure that it's true. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet. I mean, we don't do any original research. It's just surfing the net. But there's some things, like we wanted to do an episode on idioms, is the word I'm looking for. Idioms, where cat on a hot tin roof, things like that, where that came from. There's a bunch of crap out there. And so we really try. There's a few websites that we really trust. We go to Wikipedia a lot, because Wikipedia is great for giving you the rundown. But then we look at the sources, is really how we do that, because anybody can go in and change Wikipedia. So
right.
We look at the sources if you go to the very bottom of any Wikipedia site. We use Atlas Obscura a lot. They're very reputable, So we just try to watch where we get our stories, and if we like the spin that a certain article or whatever has put on it, we might use that, and a lot of times we get permission from the authors to use to quote it, but we verify it in other places. And so but some of the stuff that we do is stories, and we'll tell you that.
Right.
Like the Mermaid Riot is awesome. That's a very cool story about the history of in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, where a man set up an apothecary, and I think it was the mid-1800s. It was Dr. Trott. He set this up, and he wasn't doing so great. He was a newcomer, for one thing, and the town just kind of was against him. There was a really active Black community there. They were newly freed slaves, and all of the people went to them for their medicinal services. So they didn't trust this newcomer. They really didn't. And so what he did was he put in kind of like a curiosity cabinet. He had jars, in a P.T. Barnum move. He brought in all of these curiosities, right? All these things floating in jars to bring people into the shop. Well, the townspeople were kind of torn between going to him or just doing what they had done with the Black community and using their medicine, their folk medicine. Well, then a tropical storm came, and it camped out. Some say days. And see, all of this story has gotten embellished over time, and embellished. Of
course.
Right.
Some say a month. I have never known a tropical storm to camp out over a month, because that would have been crazy, but who knows? And the people panicked. They were absolutely in a panic, and they started whispering that Dr. Trott had a captive mermaid in his shop, and that she wanted to go to sea, and she was cursing the town.
Oh, wow.
After days and days and days of this torrential rain, a mob gathered in the downpour around the shop, and they were going to go in and trash the place, find the mermaid, set her free. And there was this standoff, and right before any violence happened, the roof caved in and washed the, quote, mermaid out to sea.
Oh, wow.
The rain stopped.
Oh,
the
wow.
rain absolutely stopped. So with a story like that, you don't know exactly. I'm sure it's been embellished over the years. It happened in the mid-1800s.
Right.
And so you don't know, but we did get a chance to quote a really good book in that. I think that was called, that episode was called Behold the Mermaid. It was all about mermaid lore and legend.
What an interesting story.
Yeah.
Right? A mermaid riot. So, and then we did one on strange conflicts, where the firefighter and clown riot.
That's interesting.
These stories. You're like, where do you get your material? There's so much out there that's crazy. It's just crazy. It's happening all the time.
Yeah, and I bet probably when you get into dealing with like myths and legends, they're myths and legends for a reason. So those get kind of hard to validate, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and we say that. I mean, every culture has its lore.
Oh, absolutely.
And I am all about the lore and the legend and the cryptids and all of that. I don't know how much I believe, but that doesn't really matter. Sometimes that doesn't matter. It's there. The legend is real because it exists and it's told. And, and sometimes our stories define us, I think, as a culture, as a people. And I'm all about that. So.
Absolutely. Well, we have another question. Scotty Chill wants to know what platform you use.
Platform for podcasts. We use Buzzsprout.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Which is it? What is what?
What was the platform you said you use?
Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a couple out there. That's the one we used. That's the one we chose. It was between that and Anchor.
Okay.
And she froze up on me. Oh no. Are you there? I see her, and the screen just froze.
Oh,
on
no.
her.
We have another question.
Oh, no. Well, I'm hoping that it's not the local weather that's causing it. There she is.
We lost you.
And she's gone. Well, hopefully she'll come back with update. Wait.
Is she back?
Are you back?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We lost you for a minute.
Well, we talked about when we did our sound check prior to the show that regardless of what you do when it comes with electronics, the gremlins will make their way into the room.
Always.
And there they are.
Absolutely. There they are. I had to reboot. Well, not reboot, but I had to refresh.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy that you know how to do that.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't have guests that know how. We do have another question for you. Mr. Callie McCool, he has a show here on Tiki Man Radio. He's a teacher out in California, and he said his students are learning how to podcast now. He would love to have an expert podcaster visit through video chat. So would it be okay if we hook you guys up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, because if you...
All right, Callie, we'll send you some information.
Because if you tune in here on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern here on Tiki Man Radio, you'll listen to Surfs Up with Callie Cool and the student crew. And that is his students out there in California. They've come on. They have their own show here on Tiki Man Radio. And Tiki Man Radio is actually a subject that they are studying. The Tiki Man visits them via video. He gives them assignments and gives them grades and things on how he does. So that is a very cool thing.
Yeah, we would love to do that. Dr. Meeker would just, he would eat that up.
Well, we will send.
Do that.
Yeah, we'll send Callie. We'll send you some information so that you can get a hold of Leah. Do you want me to send him your email, Leah? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Look at us making connections.
I know.
You know, you get teachers in a room and they start collaborating and thinking and going, hey.
Yeah.
So
you're right, Leah. That is what it's all about. Yeah.
That is awesome. So you said the next episode that you have coming up is what?
It's called American Monsters, and it's all about the cryptids that are around the United States. We took the United States and we broke it up into regions, like the Pacific Northwest and things. And we just featured a couple of the cryptids from that area. And there's so many. There's so many that we can get to. We stayed away from Bigfoot and Mothman just because they're so well known. And I mean, we got the Hodag. We've got
Bigfoot lives where we're from, by the way, in case anybody wants to know. He lives in Ohio.
Well, I live in the piney woods of the Sam Houston National Forest.
Oh, okay.
Too, so.
Oh, awesome. So you kind of stay away from Bigfoot and Mothman because that'd be the big one over in West Virginia. But yeah, there are so many different kind of creatures that or talked about.
And there's so many animals that are recognized today that started out as cryptids. Like
oh, really?
Okapi, if you know what I'm talking. The okapi is one of my favorite animals. It looks a lot like a giraffe got caught in a stampede of zebras. Like the back end of it looks like a zebra, and the front end looks like a giraffe. They're
oh wow,
related to the giraffes, and they were a cryptid for a long time. And so was the platypus. I mean, can you imagine somebody seeing a platypus and then going and explaining what that looked like?
Right, right.
They weren't accepted for a long time, and the giant squid and things like that. So some things have been cryptids that turned out to be real. And then, there's always the whole, is it an alien thing? And so that's a possibility. Anyway, we talk about all of that. And the next 2 episodes, actually, we have American Cryptids is coming out April 11th. We have an episode that comes out every other Monday. April 11th is our next one. And then the one after that is Cryptids of the World, which we really left out so much.
Yeah.
There's picking and choosing. You said, where do you get your material? Honestly, the hard thing isn't getting the material. It's picking and choosing the material.
Because there's just so much to go from. Just so much to choose from.
Right.
Well, at least that you're not in risk of running out of material, and you can keep the podcast going for the foreseeable future.
That's right.
So tell everybody, we run the commercial and kind of tell everybody where they can listen to the podcast, but why don't you remind everybody?
Well, we have a website, www.remnantstew.com. That's easy. You can listen there, but if your listeners have not discovered podcasts yet, listen, there's a podcast for everybody. And you can listen to podcasts wherever you are. So if you have an iPhone or you have an Android phone, it doesn't matter. There's podcast apps and they're free. And most of the content on podcasts are free, like 99.9% of it's free. So you can find self-help, you can find true crime, you can find serial storytelling, you can find all kinds of stuff. I recommend Remnant Stew. So
absolutely.
So we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, which I think is now called Amazon Music, or not Amazon, Apple Music. We're on all of that. Any platform that you can listen to podcasts, we're on, except for Pandora. Pandora's being a little snot to us. We can figure that one out, but we're working on it. So anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find us.
That is awesome. Now, when you said that you also have a Facebook page that people that can go over and interact with you guys.
That's right. It's at Remnant Stew Podcast. And our name is so weird that honestly, if you Google Remnant Stew, you'll find us.
Nice.
Because virtually nothing else is called Remnant Stew. And we also have an Instagram. So there's content going out all the time on those social media pages, and you can interact with us and ask us questions. And every episode has a trivia challenge at the end. There's a trivia challenge question related to the topic of that episode. So
pay attention. There is a test.
Yeah, pay attention, answer that, and we'll send you a pair of really crazy socks. So,
really?
Oh, that's cool.
That's right.
I gotta get me a pair of socks now.
Right?
There you go. And we run different contests. I think last year around October we ran the cemetery crawl. It was a scavenger hunt of symbols on the tombstones.
Oh wow.
So there's always something cool going on.
Yeah, the Tiki Man, his favorite hobby when he goes down to Key West is to walk through the Key West cemetery and look at all the neat things that are to be found down there.
I love cemeteries. Like, I'm a little bit about the creep, so.
That is awesome. So, again, when is the newest podcast coming out again?
April 11th.
April 11th.
Now, the one we have, and that's the thing about podcasts. You can always go back. We have almost not quite 50 episodes. You can go back and listen to them. It's not serial. Like, for instance, you don't have to listen to episode 1, then 2, then 3. You can go back and find the one that you're interested in. If you're interested about legend and lore, if you're interested about the Curiously Interred, which was our last October episode. Oh, let's see. I've got the list here. We've got one on UFOs. We have
that should interest that guy.
Yeah.
Remarkable inventions. I mean, anything. So the current one, we decided to every quarter do a portrait or basically a deep dive on a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Nellie Bly, who was this. She's amazing. She was an investigative journalist in the late 1800s, which just, first of all, did women do that, you know?
Right.
And she's the one that went into the insane asylum in order to get the inside scoop on what conditions were like. And we all know that conditions.
Thank God she did.
Yeah.
That's right. And then she also traveled around the world. Jules Verne wrote that Around the World in 80 Days.
Mm-hmm.
She decided for the newspaper that she wrote for to go around the world in less than 80 days. And she did. She did. They sent her. At first they said, no, we're going to send a man to do that. And she said, well, I'll tell you what, you send a man to do that and I'll go do it for another newspaper. I'll set out and I'll beat him. And so they ended up sending her. And she did. She did it in less than 80 days. And she met Jules Verne on that trip. So really interesting person.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah. Now, typically, how long is each episode?
Oh, okay. So when we started out, they were half an hour long. Now they're about an hour long. And that's kind of the good thing about podcasts is there's not a time slot to fit into. But we are looking at maybe scaling back the times in the hopes of releasing every week instead of every other week.
Oh,
so that's kind of something that we're chewing on and seeing if that's what we want to do. But they're typically an hour long.
Awesome. Now, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you want everybody to know about Remnant Stew?
Just that my co-host, Dr. Meeker, Steve, he's funny, he's hilarious. He's so well-read and well-traveled. Phil is our audio producer, but he also gets on the mic, and he always comes into the episodes without knowledge of what we're even talking about, honestly. I mean, he might know the topic and he might not. And so everything that hits him, you know, just he's responding right there and then, and he has a lot of cringy comments.
So he's responding like a lot of the listeners would be.
Right, that's right. And sometimes I'll say, okay, so look at this picture and tell me what you think or whatever, you know, we'll get his comment. And so the three of us we have a blast. We really need to come out with a bloopers episode. It'll be 90% of it'll be us just laughing.
I understand. I would say the same thing, but unfortunately we're live and they get to see them as they happen.
That's right.
Well, Leah, we thank you so much. I wish I could. We have your banner that you sent us. If you was watching earlier, it is up on the wall, and it looks pretty good up there on that wall.
Well, thank you. I don't even have one myself. I need one for my wall.
Well, that just kind of shows you we're kind of a big deal. No,
that's right. I feel so important now.
I know. We got something she doesn't. That makes us feel important.
I have to tell you, getting to know you two has been just, I really do hope I can come up for that party.
Oh,
yes.
We hope so too.
Yes, we want you here so we can have some fun and get to know you even more. And, you know, getting the course just through the process of working into everything, because I know you've had a lot more communication with Lou than you have been me, because, you know, she is my girl in the home office, as the Tiki Man says. I let her take care of all the business side. I just sit here behind the controls and pick the playlist each week and see how things roll.
There you go. It would be wonderful to meet you guys in person.
Yes. So
absolutely.
So block out your calendar, and
if you fly up, let us know. And we do have an airport here in Chattanooga. There's a big airport in Nashville. We will arrange to get you from the airport. You don't have to worry about renting a car or anything.
That would be fantastic. I'll let you know.
All right.
And, you know, the way we end every single... Well, and I do have to say this. You guys, when I was deciding whether or not to sponsor you guys, one of the things that really caught me is that your philosophy and our philosophy at Remnant Stew is the same. It's kind of like, just relax,
That's right.
Take a break.
Get rid of the negativity and hold on to the positivity.
Exactly. And so we end every single one of our podcasts by reminding people to remember to be kind and always stay curious.
That is awesome. We love that, because I think sometimes, especially through the pandemic, that was something that got lost, was just niceness.
That's right. And there's people out there struggling. There's people out there struggling. They're reading this, they're seeing the way that we treat each other. And
Absolutely.
It is my absolute belief that there's more good in the world than there is bad. It's just not sensational enough to make the news.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately not. Well, Leah, thank you so much for joining us tonight and letting us and everybody that listens to us to get to know you. We've told everybody, go follow their social medias.
Absolutely.
And let them know that you heard about them right here on Tropical Country, B-Dawg and Lou, because that's the only way you know that what your sponsorship is paying off.
That's right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And we will be in
you.
touch with you very, very soon. And I hope that we will get to see you very soon in person.
Hope so.
All right. You take care.
Thanks, Leah.